This is why you need Centex Primetime. Jalen Gillis brings the realness. Dive into the heart of sports with the most passionate commentary around. From pro to high school, Jalen's got the insight and energy you crave. Catch all the action weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. on the Centex Sports Network, only on YouTube. Join the conversation and elevate your sports knowledge with Centex Primetime. Don't miss it.
Need video or audio solutions? Lighthouse Streaming, a full-scale media agency, can transform any event. Check this out. We're talking live streaming that's crisp and clear, event audio that hits every note, and church video and audio solutions that'll enhance worship. Corporate events, we got those on lock too. From concerts to conferences, Lighthouse Streaming and Audio makes your vision shine. Book your appointment now at lighthousestreaming.com or call 254-252-4206 for a free consultation. Let's elevate your event and light up the stage.
What's up, everybody? My name is Jalen Gillis. You may know me from Centex Sports Network. We're starting a new platform, Recruit 254. Our mission is to highlight the amazing student athletes of 254. So if you're in the Waco, Killeen, Temple, Mart, Marlin, or any surrounding 254 areas, follow this platform and join the movement. Recruit 254. 254, let's run it up.
My name is Debbie Kimbrell. I am the administrative assistant.
Hello
here
and
at
welcome back
Chapel
into
Alpha.
Centex Prime Time. I am your host, Jalen Gillis, getting ready to bring you through the prime time topics in sports, not just here in the Central Texas area, but from all around the nation. Want to thank everybody for tuning in with us here today. Happy Monday to everybody out there as we start off a new week. We've got a brand new NBA champion as Oklahoma City Thunder closed it out last night in 7 to win the NBA championship. We'll talk about that here today on Centex Primetime. We'll talk about the injury to Tyrese Halliburton as well. We'll talk about my Rockets making some changes, man, bringing Kevin Durant down here. I'll try not to go too hard today. We'll make it about OKC, but we'll get some more time throughout the week to talk about them. And then we'll close it out and talk about some quick takes and what's going on around the NFL and around some of the local topics supporting the local kids here today as well. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, whether that is on YouTube, Centex Sports Network / Centex Sports TV, or if you're watching with us on Facebook, Centex Sports Network, or you can always go to our website, free subscription, centexsportsnetwork.com. Go on there and check us out and catch all of our content live on there as well. Well, folks, we got plenty to talk about here today, so we'll jump straight into it. Joining me here on the show just for a little bit, we've got the guy you see here every single week with us, Mr. Wayne Walker, WISD Hall of Famer, former San Diego Charger, here with us. But he's also brought in a very special guest with us as well, a Waco native and a guy that was rated one of the best refs in D1 college basketball just a couple of years ago. Has done a lot here in the city and all over the place. Mr. Keith Kimball in the building with us. Keith, what's going on?
All right, man. Thank you. Thank you for having me, man.
Yes, sir. No problem. No problem. Wayne, appreciate y'all stopping by for a quick second.
He'll Waco High Hall of Fame.
Yeah. See, my bad. I didn't.
You didn't leave that out.
You left that out.
My bad. We're gonna get the introduction right. For sure.
Hard work.
Definitely. Well, Keith, I appreciate you jumping in with us here today, man. Fellas, I want to jump right into it. And Wayne, I know you got to go real quick. I want to touch on this NBA championship last night, man. Game 7, the Thunder able to pull this one out. They win 103-91. SGA wins Finals MVP, joins a rare company with Shaquille O'Neal, Michael Jordan, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as the only guys to win an NBA MVP, to win Finals MVP, and lead the league in scoring all within the same season, man. A phenomenal season for him and for the Thunder. When you saw the Game 7, how it turned out last night, Wayne, what was your thoughts on the game?
Well, it was well-deserved. You're talking about a team that had the best record throughout, played the most consistent throughout the season.
Yeah.
So it was their turn, you know. I picked them when the playoffs started, and so I'm kind of happy they won.
Yeah.
But they had the best team all year, man.
Sure.
They got a lot of young talent, and it wouldn't be surprising if we wouldn't be saying this again next year or the year after that or the year after that. I mean, because they have the pieces and they have the personnel to go back and run it back.
Yeah, and like you said, these guys – the youngest team to win an NBA championship since 1977, I believe it was, the Trailblazers team that won. Super young team. All these guys are under contract for another couple of years. Right. They got, I think, 15 draft picks in the next 5 to 6 years going forward, man. This could be
first rounders.
Yeah, first rounders.
Yeah. I mean, they can bring in the type of assets they need as they get older. But you just said it. They had the youngest team in the NBA.
Yeah.
You know, with their superstars 26 that won the MVP. So he's looking for that max deal, and he's going to be around a long time. And then you got Chet Holmgren, who's just going to get better. And then you got Jalen Williams, who's even younger than he is.
Yeah, yeah.
So, man, you're going to see them in this position time and time again. I'm saying we hadn't had a repeat NBA champion in the last 7 years.
Yep.
So, but I think they can be the first. I think they can be that team that kind of like the Spurs or the Lakers or Miami, the teams that won back-to-back championships. So they are that team.
And I tell you, with their youth and the experience that they have, they are a little bit inexperienced. I say that, but with the youth and the talent that they do have, it's crucial on what type of officiating they will get in this. It's very crucial for letting that speed, that willingness to get to the hole to develop like it did. And you can see that exactly. I think the officiating was on point.
Yeah,
it was on point, yeah.
Separating the marginal versus illegal type contact that can occur to slow that speed down in that youth ability.
But you know what's going to help that, though, Keith? What's going to help that is they won it this year, so they can they can lean on that experience.
Yeah.
Once you've been there, man, it's just, I mean, you know, it's like doing everything your first time. Like it's like even riding a bicycle your first time. You're kind of scared, and then the more you go out there and do it, the more comfortable you are.
Correct.
So they'll have that comfort next year because they had that experience, and they went all the way through every round. They went to the 7th game, and they pulled it out. So, man, that experience is going to mean a lot for a young team that has this core value of players coming back next year.
I do agree. I mean, point blank, with that youth that they do have, the experience that they're going to develop, man, they can be the cream of the crop for a long time.
Yeah, to see a team like you brought it up, Wayne, your superstar player that just won MVP is only 26 years old. We're talking about a LeBron who didn't win until he was 27, 28, a Michael Jordan who didn't win, he was 27, 28, all these different guys. You got SGA leading this team at only 26 years old, and everybody else is even younger than him. Yeah. You think about a Jalen Williams who had a breakout series, in my opinion, in this series. I mean, that 40-point game was huge for the Thunder in Game 5. He's a young guy. Chet Holmgren's only going to get better from here. This is really his second year playing in the league. And to see what he was able to do defensively as well, this Thunder team is primed to be able to be successful for the next 3, 4, 5 years maybe.
Yeah, no doubt.
Looking at the way that they are. And one of the only teams, I think the first one since 2022 to win under the luxury tax. Most teams that we see win are well above the luxury tax. We think about the Warriors and their dynasty, all those years winning. They were well above the luxury tax every single year. The Lakers, when they won in 2020, same thing. So, man, this Thunder team, before you leave, Wayne, what did you think about Halliburton's injury, going out there playing on that strained calf that everybody was hoping wouldn't turn into a torn Achilles? He made it through Game 6, so everybody got a little bit happy. And then in Game 7, after a hot start, goes out there and gets hurt.
I mean, it's unfortunate for a guy like that, man. You know, you put your heart and soul into playing basketball, and you going out there for your team and putting everything on the line for a Game 7 when it was said that if it was during season, you would probably be resting 2 or 3 weeks. But despite that, he was going to give it a try. He went out and tried to compete for his team. And it's unfortunate that he tore his Achilles, man, because that's an injury that's going to keep you out for a whole year.
Yes.
Or a year and a half, man. Yeah. I mean, and then, I mean, my heart's out to him, man, praying for the guy because he's a great player. He's a leader. But you can tell once he went out in that first quarter, it just kind of took the air out of his team. And you knew that it was going to be a victory for OKC because he's the leader, he's the motor. He's the motor for that team. So, man, I hate that it happened to him. And good luck getting healthy and coming back.
And I tell you what, I had the honor and blessed to referee him when he was in college, when he was at Iowa State, and I can see the enthusiasm for as the leader that he became during college.
Yes,
and I know for a fact his work ethic. Man, it's going to be crucial for him to recover from that.
Yeah.
But that work ethic is going to be something that's going to have to shine for him to get to a point to where he can get back to that stability that he had before he even went down in his injury. But,
Yeah.
and I take my hats off to him. That's a tough injury. It was tough
Man,
to overcome
Yes.
for that team. When they see they start going down, you know, the morale can go down. I mean, the temperament of the way they play goes down. You know, but he gonna fight. He'll be back.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just think about it. Like Dame Lillard hurt his, Jason Tatum, Achilles, all these Achilles. I know Durant, he had the Achilles.
Yeah, a few years back, yeah.
And they saying it's the speed of the game now. They're pushing up and down the floor.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how true that is.
Yeah.
But it's like fast break basketball, man. They moving the ball, man, and everything is. I don't even think we need a shot clock anymore. You know, Keith, I mean,
I totally agree.
I mean, you the expert at
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
You're a basketball player. You're official, but
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I mean, the going from one end to the other, especially when we're talking about shot clocks and we're looking at that, we need to eliminate it because they're putting up shots within a shot clock period, which can be 24 seconds to 30 seconds in college, but they putting up shots at 18 seconds left on the shot clock. So you know they can take 3 or 4 shots within a 30-second period of time. So yeah, you're right, Wayne. I mean, they're getting up and down the court the way they're doing it. That shot clock is irrelevant.
Yeah, they, especially for a team like the Pacers, they getting it off the glass, off of an inbound, and they getting right down the court immediately, and moving down
that
there.
pro game is so wide open. I mean, that's why you're seeing scores 131, 130, things of that nature. So that's really pushing the ball, and getting attempts up with a small amount of frame of a 24 period shot clock. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy, the speed of the game.
No, it definitely is. It's super, and especially for a team like the Pacers, like I said, that gets up and down the court so quickly. Wayne, I know you have to go, man. I appreciate you jumping on here with a quick second with us.
Man, love you, man.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Like I was saying, Keith, still talking about this finals game and seeing Tyrese Halliburton go down. Like you said, it kind of takes out the team morale. We saw guys like T.J. McConnell step up for a short stint in there. Ben Mathurin stepped up for a short stint in there. But after the game, they showed Obi Toppin, and he talked about how it kind of took the air out of the team, especially for guys like himself. He's a guy that usually has, the 10 to 15 points in there.
Correct.
He was kind of out of the game. Naismith, the guy was kind of out of the game. Miles Turner, these different guys. It's tough to see your star go down. Like you said, you got to watch him in college at Iowa State, and he was a great player there
I tell
as
you,
well.
It's a confidence booster when you have your star out there and he's competing the way that we know Halliburton competes. Now, when you lose him, then you have your core group see that he's down.
Yeah,
that's a reaction that man, you got to overcome quick. I didn't think in Game 7 that they overcame it, but losing your star like that, it is something to a point that can be very impactful to a team core group.
Yes.
And that's what you saw, especially going in the third and fourth quarter of the second half of that game.
Yeah, halftime they went in with a 1-point lead, and everybody was kind of thinking maybe these guys can pull this off. But OKC, as they've done all season, in that third quarter, their defense shines, and they shut it out.
As an official, I'm telling you, coming out of halftime, that first 5 minutes of that third quarter in my game in the second half, really will see how a team can respond, especially when they lose their top player like that. That first 5 minutes is crucial on how that team play. And you can see it went down 6, 8, then it went up to double digits, and the morale was just gone. He brings a lot to the table. Like I say, God bless him, man. I hope he can come back from that injury because that Achilles is something you don't want to play with.
Yeah, it's an injury that, I guess more people have gotten kind of more used to it over the last few years. We've seen stars like Kevin Durant and Aaron Rodgers a couple of years ago tore that Achilles. But, just 10, 15, 20 years ago, an Achilles was almost looked at as a career changer, a career ender for a lot of people. Yes. So hopefully he can get back healthy with this team. Like you said, you've been reffing for a long time and you've seen a lot of ball. What do you think about a lot of people saying, this playoffs, they kind of let the guys play a little more physical this playoff, at least for what it seems from the outside looking in. You'll be able to get more insight on that. They kind of let guys play a little bit more and maybe brought it back to an older style of basketball. I won't say the old school way of basketball, the 80s and 90s like that, but maybe a slightly older style of basketball. What do you think about the way that the playoffs were officiated this year? Because personally, I loved it, the way that a lot of people played.
Same here. Us in the college ranks, we get the same thing when the NCAA tournament comes. Say that we officiate one way during the regular season, then we get in the NCAA tournament, we officiate another. But for as me looking at the pro game, initially what they will do is allow athletes such as that magnitude play.
Yes.
If you're going to look at a common foul, it's going to be so common to a point to where Ray Charles can identify.
Yeah, exactly.
That you know, so I don't want to bring on the state to say that they change the way they officiate during the NBA playoffs, but yeah, they let things go compared to what they used to do. You know, so I mean, period. You don't want to be the whole talk of having talent not be talent because you have to just blow in the whistle.
Exactly.
You got to pick and choose your battles or what it is that you want to do, but you know, you can't teach feel for the game.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, as an official, you know, I can go out there to direct you to go out there, hey, look at this, look for that. But there's a time and place whether you're going to direct your attention to that and put a whistle on it. So I think they did a great job of managing the talent and let the talent actually play. And if they did put a whistle on it, it was just so egregious to where everybody would shake their head and say, yeah, that is a foul, you know. Yeah. So.
When you're going into a game and you're reffing a guy like a SGA, a guy that a lot of people say, hey man, he gets a lot of fouls, he gets to the free throw line aggressively. How do you approach going into a game like that? Because obviously that's a skill. Being able to get to the free throw line is a skill.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as a guy, if he's good at getting fouled, you can't not call the foul because he's already shot 10 free throws. He's already shot 15. So how do you approach going into a game with a player like a SGA?
Well, you're looking at SGA, and you look at, if we want to just break down when we do a pregame as officials, and we're looking at, the first thing we look at is who's going to have the ball in their hands and how much time they have the ball in their hands. If you take it and you go a statistics type person and you look at SGA, he might have the ball in his hand 75% of the time. And then you look at the attempts that he takes and where he takes it at. So if he take 5 attempts, 10 attempts, 7 or 8 of them are going to be to the rim. So he has a high chance of getting to the free throw line.
Absolutely.
Because of the simple fact he is going to the cup and he has the ball 75% of the time. So yes, you have an SGA. We got to make sure that we pregame and understand he does have the ball in his hand a lot. I don't want to say we're going to protect him, but we're going to call the obvious on him. And sometimes the obvious is just that, obvious. Because he's getting a lot of contact because he is going to the cup. You know, so those type of things you got to really pregame on and just make sure that you and the crew, the officiating crew, is on the same page on what we're going to deliver and not deliver on both ends of the court. You know,
definitely. No, you giving a master class, man, insight on what it's like, because you know everybody always, you guys got a thankless job, and everybody always feels like, oh man, I can call it better than this.
I tell people all the time, it don't matter what type of game you got, or even who's in your game. Man, Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, all of them in your game that's playing, but that game is not going to be nothing too surprising if you don't have good core officiating group.
Yes.
That's the important thing. Now we get a lot of things thrown on us. The officiating did this, the officiating did that. Now, if we want to justify what we're doing on the players, we can say SGA had 10 free throw attempts and he missed 8. But they lost by 6. You know what I'm saying? Is that my fault?
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
So things like that. But we gotta, it's something that we gotta take. That just comes with the job, the negativity that comes with it, us blowing the whistle. But if we want to have an outtake of somebody judging us on what we're doing and we judge the players, man, there's a lot of other mistakes get us off, period.
No, definitely. You've been reffing in the Big 12 for a really long time, and like you said, you got a chance to see up close and personal Tyrese Halliburton, but also you got a chance to see a Waco native, man, the Kenrich Williams, who got a chance to go out there and be the first guy from Waco to bring home NBA championship, man. Talk a little bit about Kenrich and being able to watch him over the years.
Let me tell you, the first time I recognized Kendrick, and this is a long time ago, we had a little dribbles program at Doris Miller YMCA in East Waco. I remember the kid I'm talking about running around the YMCA. When I was blessed to be the sports director over there. You know, so did I see that type of talent of what he didn't? But once you start playing and that competitive nature comes out of you, it grows to be a Kendrick Williams. But I tell you one thing, he always was a motivator. He was a person that worked hard. Even when he was at university, at times in the summertime when he couldn't get in the gym, comes over there to that Doris Miller Y, do what he have to do. Put a whistle on him just as much as I put a whistle on anybody else. But what he was doing is strategizing on what us officials would call what's legal, what's illegal. So when you can maximize your time to understanding what we're calling, that's a negative and versus a positive, and he can generate his ability to understand that, he'll be well off. And that's what he did. He grew to be successful, and man, look at the blessing that he has.
Absolutely, man. Everybody, thinks of the star player or the glitz and glamour of the guy that takes the the 25 to 30 shots, man. But and you know also well the NBA, even on the college level, is about finding a role.
Absolutely.
You have a more likely chance of finding a role than you do becoming the guy that's averaging 30 points a game within the NBA. And he is, I mean, the perfect example of that. Watched him in, like you said, in high school, at university, then TCU doing the same thing and being able to find his niche and find that role in the NBA.
Absolutely. Even, his name came up in the barbershop. We talk about everything in the barbershop.
Yeah, for sure.
So we're in the barbershop and his name came up. Well, he ain't playing as much, just like the role that you're talking about. Well, looking at the stability of what he needs to do to project what he needs to do to make the team win, his role was to come off the bench to do what he have to do. But what I liked about him when he did come off the bench, he did his job with no attitude.
Yes.
With no negativity on the mind because he's thinking that he needs to be starting versus him understanding the role that he has. That's one thing that I've noticed about the young man. He's going to do whatever he needs to do in the right way with a good temperament to make sure that he shine as well as his team shine.
Yeah, absolutely. And it shows for itself when I interviewed Mark Dagnall, the head coach of Oklahoma City. The second guy that he said after he brought up SGA was Kenrich Williams. He said this guy that's been in part of the program longer than most of the guys. I think him and SGA have been the longest, and Lou Dort are the longest tenured Thunder on this team. They've been there the longest, and Coach Dagnall talked about what he brings to practice, what he brings to the locker room, all those things are so integral to being able to win an NBA championship. It's not just having a really good player like SGA or playing good defense. There's multiple components that go into it, man. And shout out to Kenrich, man, for being able to bring that Larry O'Brien, man, back to the city. Back to the city.
I can't wait to put that whistle on him when he do come back to play the summer. Period. Yeah.
Definitely. Looking over at the Indiana Pacers a little bit, we talked about Tyrese Halliburton. I want to talk about their head coach and Rick Carlisle. Even though they came up short in this, man, I said it to some of my friends this weekend. This team reminds me a lot of that 2011 Dallas Mavericks team that was able to win. You see multiple guys. Of course, they got the big name in Dirk, but the reason they beat the Heat is the Jason Terrys, the J.J. Bareas, and all that. And it's the same with this team. We know Halliburton, but it's the Siakams and the Nimhards and the Obi Toppins. Yeah. Man, talk about the depth of this team, and then Rick Carlisle just in the coaching experience, putting all into one, and what he was able to do getting this team this far.
Great question. I'm going to tell you what, man, it's one thing that I did have the privilege to do, the blessing to do. When I was in the Dallas area, when I stayed up there, Rick Carlisle would call a good friend of mine to bring in over officials doing his practices when he was with the Mavericks. And we would come over there, and this was probably like a 5-year period going into when they actually 2011 won it.
Yeah.
I got to know Rick on a personal basis, and I could always remember, man, Dirk would complain about this, complain about that, and he just dropped the mic one day in practice, got him up in the huddle, turned to us officials and say, I'm fining these guys $50 per technical foul. So in order for me to stop this, I want you to start with the big guy right here. He's talking about Dirk. So, of course, us officials say, $50 and he's going to give us a cut. But that was his whole temperament of bringing in morale. Stop negativity versus pointing somebody out and embarrassing a grown man in front of other grown men. There's something about Rick Carlisle. I think he was a people person. He was a fair guy. The way that he directed his team, everybody knew their role. And you look at Rick and his teams. He might have a Dirk Nowitzki, maybe. But you look at the Indiana Pacers. He don't have no pertinent player that we can say that was a superstar. He have a lot of role players that play within the system. I think in college, we missing that as well. Playing within the system. You play within the system with a team, man, team going to win championships. I think defense win championships. And that's what Rick Carlisle was about. He just met a team that was a little bit more athletic, more youthful. Just like you just said, Kendrick was probably one of the staples that's been around in their locker room. But he's a young guy. He's a young guy.
Exactly.
But hats off to Rick Carlisle and the job that he's done. I met him on a personal basis, dealt with him a little bit over the summer. He's a good dude.
Good guy. Definitely. And I mean, it shows in his teams, man. Like you said, having that camaraderie, that's a huge part of it. Not just with this team, but like I said, the 2011 team he won with, those early Detroit Piston teams before Larry Brown became the coach. He was doing the exact same thing there. So I think Rick Carlisle was I think actually helped his legacy even more, even though they lost in this. But man, he's going to go down as one of the greatest coaches,
Absolutely.
I believe.
I do agree with that.
With what he's been able to do. You talked about the college game a little bit, and there was a time period where the one and done I felt like was kind of overshadowing the team build. The Coach Calipari's and what he was able to do with Kentucky, and then we eventually saw Coach K start switching to that model, especially when they brought in Zion and Cam. I think that year they had the top 3 players in the nation all went to Duke with Zion, Cam Reddish, and R.J. Barrett going out there. And now I feel like we're starting to see, even with NIL being in place, teams being built more as opposed to, hey, man, let's just try to get 3 stars out here. Not saying the teams aren't doing it, but we're looking at the success of a U of H that gets to the national championship game. And they've got a lot of guys that's been there for a while, maybe cast off some other teams, guys they brought in and built a team. Talk a little bit about that dynamic between the one-and-done type teams and then the guys that are building out an entire team, maybe with some older players on the college level.
Absolutely. I mean, that's big. That's a big question. I never was a fan of the one-and-done.
Yeah.
I think the chemistry of a couple of athletes come in and they play in 1 year, the understanding of what the coach actually wants to put out doesn't resonate within 1 year.
Yeah.
So one and done to me is irrelevant. I don't like that. But now with NIL, that's going to kill it.
Yeah.
With this NIL now, you can make deals to guarantee guys to be 3 to 4 years in college, depending on how much you're going to pay them. But that one and done was something that I thought that hurt college basketball because the prestige of the college basketball's eye for the public is the players in itself. So if we can have a Zion Williamson, a Cooper Flagg in for 3 to 4 years, everybody will want to prep up to watch college basketball because they want to see these pertinent players. But that one and done was something of a negative for me. Me personally.
Yeah, no,
but now with NIL, now how they going to negotiate the NIL deal when you're having kids coming in making $7 million within a 3 to 4 year, but the deal is for 3 years that you stay.
Yes.
So now that learning process grows before you even hit the NBA range, because when you're going as an 18-year-old guy going into the NBA to a bunch of grown men,
yes,
it doesn't matter. I mean, you 18 years old and you're going up against a 24-year-old. The body structure is different.
Yeah.
The mentality is different. So I think it's not only the one and done was getting hurt for them as they gradually go over to the NBA, but it took time for them to grow within the NBA system.
Yes.
I think that could have been resonated in the college if they stayed 2 to 3 years. But now with that NIL, man, these guys going to be negotiating big time money in the college rank, which is going to filter down to the high school ranks too.
Yes.
But there's going to be a guarantee. Okay, I could pay you this money, but if I'm the university and I'm talking to you about doing this, you're going to stay with me for 3 to 4 years.
Yes.
That's going to justify why you're getting so much of a big money chunk for you to do that. Now, once they leave, or if they, void the contract, then whatever school they go into, as they get into that transfer portal, that's a whole nother deal. But if you're with me and I'm paying you $7 million, I'm gonna guarantee you're gonna be with me 3 years.
No, absolutely. And I think it's I think this year they had a record breaking. Well, it was the lowest amount of freshmen that declared for the NBA draft I think they've had in a very long time. And a huge part of that is NIL. Instead of, hey, I'm just going to put my name in the hat and see what happens and I end up being the 50th pick in the second round. Now I'll just go over here and transfer to this school. And now I can make a decent amount of money, possibly the same amount of money I was going to get maybe going into the G League or maybe having to go and play overseas like that. So the NIL is changing a lot in basketball. And I'm like you, I think the one and done was at some point hurting a lot of these guys because especially the influence of maybe one guy in there, okay, he's going to be a top 5 pick. But the other guy that came in with him, he wants to come out as well, but he's projected a 40th pick in the draft. And now that can change the trajectory of your career going into the NBA too early. And I think the NIL is kind of changing that. It's keeping a lot of guys at home because, hey, I can still make some money. I can help my family out, and I can still go and get an education, stay on the college ranks, and be successful.
I mean, that NIL, there's money to be given to these players.
Yeah.
But the way they distribute the money is going to be some demands for these players to meet, whether it's individual statistics, meaning that if you averaging this much and you're doing this much on the defensive end and those averages, your money can grow. So, but the stipulation of them saying 3 to 4 years to eliminate the one and done, that's going to be a guarantee on how they negotiate what they're going to give these players.
I believe, and I think it's kind of has to. After the first couple of years we saw of the NIL, we're seeing guys that take some NIL money here, maybe play half the season, or I'm gonna go transfer over here and go play this, and then and everybody's wondering, okay, well, where did the money have to go then? We promised him $2 million. Does he get the $2 million? Do you only get half? Is there stipulations now in the contracts that are going to change? And I think this thing is growing. Obviously, NIL is young, still relatively young, so I think they're growing in how they approach it and how they're going to think of moving forward with it. Just on a whole level, how do you see the impact of NIL? Because we've seen it on both sides. Some people say, man, you shouldn't give an 18-year-old kid $3-4 million, but at the same time, we've seen generations of players that were getting taken advantage of, honestly, because schools and universities are making millions of dollars, and the kids are having to scrape up some money to go and share a meal. So what do you think about just the way the NIL has entered and changed college sports so far?
Yeah, you know what? It has its good and it has its bad.
Absolutely.
The good thing is that, you can pay these kids now for their work in the college ball. I don't know, some years back when UConn won the national title with Kemba Walker.
Yes,
remember the guard?
yes.
You know, he was the MVP of that tournament along with winning it. And, he was interviewed and they asked him, Kemba, what you going to do now since you won the national title? Well, he looked into the mic, into the TV screen. He said, he don't know. I'm going back to stores and wondering how I'm going to get my next meal. So NIL benefits that, so I understand it. I don't know if you guys remember that, but that's what that young man said. So actually that initially started NIL, all right? So that's a benefit for good. For the bad, I remember when Michael Jordan said this. I read this book about Jordan Rules, and he was talking about, generating money to athletes who haven't even made their first layup in the college game.
Yeah.
How would it kill their morale for their work ethic? So, when Jordan came in, they big contract was their second contract because they had to understand that they had to go work for what they get.
Yes.
So now you give a kid, 17, 18-year-old kid, $50 million. You think the work ethic is going to be just as valuable with $50 million at 17 or 18 versus him now got to get in the NBA and work toward that big contract. So it has its benefits with the NIL. It can help or it can hinder.
Yes.
So with that being said, it's just you got to pick and choose if I'm a university who it is, because I'm going to look at your work ethic. I'm going to look at all of the details that I know that I'm going to get my money's worth.
Yes.
So like I say, you said it, NIL is going to be hard. It's going to be hard on who's giving the money and who you giving the money to. And then once you give that money, how that athlete is going to respond to it.
Yes.
Work ethic, what he's going to do. I mean, $50 million to an 18-year-old kid, know that he's coming in for 1 year. It can kill a lot of the morale.
Absolutely.
It's like going to class.
Absolutely.
I got $50 million.
Sure.
Why I need to go to class? I mean, so the morale can be tore up just depending on who it is that you're giving it to. Now, that's going to be a study for whomever is giving that money to that individual on how they're going to have to break down, okay, this guy deserved this.
Yes.
Because he has the work ethic. Oh, he is understanding he's got to go to class to get a diploma, a degree. So all of those things are going to be checking points before I'm going to offer you $7 million. 1 year.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Man, that's tough.
It's a lot of questions that goes into being able to give a guy $7 million. And I agree with you. I said it earlier in this year when we were talking about some NIL, and I believe it was Mike Tyson's old trainer said, it's hard to wake up at 5 a.m. to go work at the steel mill when you sleep in the silk sheets. So it's kind of changed. It changes. It changes the way that guys view, and we're going to see the good and bad from both. I said when they started introducing this money, a lot of guys that were going to make it to the league are not going to make it to the league. That's just the nature of the beast. But at the same time, it's going to benefit a lot of these guys. Yeah, I can stay in college and make some money. You think about a lot of the guys that were great in college, the Johnny Manziels, in every sport. What would their NIL evaluation be, especially since they didn't pan out in the pros?
Correct.
Maybe you get your just due here in college. What would a Tim Tebow make? What would these different guys that didn't work out in the pros? How would they be able to fare in college making their money? So I think it's a two-sided sword, man. It can be used for good or for bad.
Absolutely.
Going with it, but I'm glad the players are getting paid. Like you said, $7 million for 1 year. It's going to raise some questions. I think they're going to look into these kids a lot more than maybe they did in the past. Maybe they won't ignore some of those charges and some of those other things that happened when you was in high school. Now that we're finna give you $10 million. So yeah, I
it's
think
incredible.
Yeah,
It's
I
incredible.
think it changes a lot. There was some other NBA news, Keith, that went on during the finals. A couple of trades that happened. Obviously, last night we all saw the news, or right before the game, matter of fact, of Kevin Durant getting traded to the Rockets.
I know you was jumping high on
man,
that.
I couldn't wait. I had to make sure and check my phone a couple times, see if I was looking at it right, and see did we finally do the deal. And then Desmond Bain also got traded a couple of days ago, going off to the Magic. Another guy that you got to watch.
Oh man, that's
in the
beast.
Big 12.
Yes.
First, let's talk about the Desmond Bain one, because I like this trade a lot. Yeah. I seen some people saying, "Oh, they gave up, these first round picks for Desmond Bain," but knowing what he can bring to that team, a lot of people might not have watched the Grizzlies over the last few years. I've watched them a lot. Desmond Bain brings exactly what the Magic need, which is shooting. They were had a historically low year in shooting the three. I think the worst 3-point shooting percentage since the 2016 Lakers, and that's a team that won 20 or 30 games. So they needed shooting bad. Desmond Bain's a guy that's career shoots 40 plus from the 3-point line, can score the ball, can get his own shot at the same time. What do you think about the impact Bain can have on this Magic team that I liked a lot before the injury to Paolo and Franz Wagner both got injured? Jalen Suggs also ended up missing the season. But I think they're building a lot with that young core, now adding Desmond Bain into that young core.
He's one of the players, if I'm a general manager, that I would have to not evaluate for if I'm going to give him a lot of money. Yeah, he's going to be deserving of it. Work ethic.
Yes.
Plays hard. I mean, we probably look at, like you said, his 3-point percentage on what he's shooting, but his defense.
Yes. Yeah.
His defense, his motor in itself. I mean, that he can bring a team up. He could bring the morale of the team up. I don't know if you looked at the Magic's ticket sales since the trade. Went up. It went up. So you can see exactly him coming over there and what they're doing. Just his presence can bring it up. And, Desmond was surrounded with a lot of good guys in Memphis.
Yes.
Now his individual statistics will shine more.
Absolutely.
AKA possible NBA All-Star. Things of that nature that comes around. So he's a good guy in the dressing room. He's another guy that was out of TCU that I liked. I had the blessing to referee for 4 years.
Yeah.
You understand? 4 years. He wasn't a one and done. He was team committed. So all of that comes into justifying how the Magic now will pretty much come together with this young man in their organization.
Yeah.
Good kid.
Absolutely.
Point blank, good kid. I tell you what, TCU at the time when he was there, I think this was his junior year, and they was ranked top 5 during that time. And he was one of those ones for us as official. If we needed something to be translated to that team, we're going to get Desmond. We're going to get Desmond. Your Desmond coming, man, needs to help us out. Such doing this, and he will go do it directly, do what he have to. That's the type of leadership is what Orlando's going to be getting.
Yes.
So with that being said, it was a good trade, good for Desmond individually. Absolutely. Because now he can show his statistics a little bit more, and he can be a team builder. So that's a great trade.
Yeah, I love that trade of him going there. And like you said, at TCU, played 4 years, got to develop. I watch a lot of Big 12 basketball, obviously, so he's a guy that got to develop. Hit some big shots against my Bears as well. So
I was probably in the game.
Yeah. You had a front row seat to a couple of those, man. So, but I think his impact is going to be huge for a team in the East that's young. We just talked about this young Thunder team, this young Indiana team, the Orlando team that's young, and a Eastern Conference that right now is wide open. We're looking at Halliburton is probably not going to play next year. Jason Tatum probably not going to play next year. Damian Lillard with the Bucks probably not going to play next year. The East is completely and totally wide open. So a lot of guys are going to be putting. I expect some more changes to happen in the East because of those injuries. Because a lot of guys are going to try to put their name in the hat to see, hey, can we make a change and go get a start?
And Orlando is fairly young.
Yes,
they competed last year. Now with Desmond to bring that morale out, you never know.
Yeah,
especially with the Eastern being so wide open, like you just said. So that's a big trade for them. Hats off to that general manager that did what they have to do. And then you could say what the Grizzlies got, whatever they got, the first round picks and all. Yeah, it might be first round picks, but they're not guaranteed picks.
You don't know who those guys are going to be.
It might be those one the general manager say, damn, I want to get that.
Exactly.
But do I need to give this guy $7 million when his work ethic is not worth I'm supposed to be? So all of that comes into a point to whereas you gotta look at they got a lot of first round picks for the trade, but those first round picks gonna be worthy of anything. Yeah. We know that for a fact.
No, we definitely know that. That's one thing I do like about the NBA is they don't value draft picks the same way that the NFL does. I feel like sometimes the NFL overprotects draft picks as if every pick you're going to have is going to be some type of Pro Bowler or future All-Pro. You don't know what these guys are going to be. In the NBA, guys are more willing to say, hey, I can part with these picks because I know what type of guy I'm getting. Desmond Bane is a guy that, like you said, was on a crowded Memphis team. But if you watch a lot of those important games, those playoff games they had, everybody loves, Ja Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr. The guy hitting a lot of those big shots was Desmond Bane.
The guy that was making a lot of stops on the defensive end was Desmond Bane.
Absolutely. I think they're getting a great pickup when they him going out there to Orlando. On the other side of it, Kevin Durant heading out to Houston. My Rockets this year, they had a great year, 50-plus wins. But I knew what our shortcomings were going to be. It's documented here on the show. I said it before the playoffs started. We don't have a guy that can score in the half court when the game starts getting tight. I love Jalen Green and you know what he brings, the athleticism, all of that. But you go single digits in 5 out of the 7 games in the playoffs. We got to start looking at some things different. Now bringing in Kevin Durant, a guy that's 50, 40, 90 almost every single year, a guy that can get his own shot proven throughout the years, a guy that's been shooting over 50% the last 6 or 7 years of his career. Bringing him into this half-court offense, bringing him in a lot of these young stars, Amen Thompson, obviously Jabari Smith, Şengün, all of these different guys. What do you think KD adds to this Rockets team going forward into next year?
Well, I'm going to say this. You probably won't like it,
but
I'm going to say it. They was already a 50-55 game win team. My thing is that with KD coming in, what will the morale be?
Yes.
We say Jalen Green can be a little inconsistent, but others was consistent.
Yes.
So my thing is when he's coming in, are they going to be looking at him like wolves to accept him to come into the pack, or are they going to be looking at him as an outsider? So it's going to be very, very key to where KD comes in and build himself around the morale that's already there. I won't want to come in and second guess that morale if I'm coming in, if I'm KD.
Absolutely.
I will want to blend in as much as I can. You KD.
Yeah.
You're an all-star. Either they're going to accept you or they're going to use you as an outcast, depending on your individual mindset on how you want to generate this. Coming in asking for the ball all the time is not going to be it. There's going to be touches for you, but during the time that why they get you, like you say, in the end of the games, then your touches is coming. Be ready for that. That's going to be your role. So he's coming in with a bunch of pack of wolves. They're going to accept you or they not, depending on how your mentality is. That's just my opinion.
Definitely.
But if he's accepted, they're going to be hard. They're going to be hard to beat. I'm telling you. They're going to be hard to beat.
With what they've been doing defensively and Ime Udoka, what he's been able to build the last couple of years, I think that'll be, like you said, if he can come in and adjust to the role, because obviously you don't want to come in and change everything.
Correct.
Hey, this is my ball. We're going to do this, yada, yada, yada. This is a team that's already won 50 games. They just more or less need you to be a great role player. Honestly, your role is bigger than everybody else's, but at the end of the day, it's still a role and being a role player.
You got to be a morale builder.
Yes.
You can't be a morale crusher.
Yes, absolutely.
Even though you are the all-star KD, but you got to come in there now. You got to adjust your mentality.
Yeah.
Because they won 50, 55 games. They used to winning. It's just now what's going to put them over that curve, and it's going to be up to KD to do that, depending on how his morality is. When he's coming in there. It is what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think about Kevin Durant? And, a lot of talk since the trade request, or it really wasn't a request because the Suns were kind of ready to move off of him. There's been a lot of talk about his legacy. He's changed his teams. He's changed team now. I believe this is his 5th team now that he's been on the NBA, which we're not used to seeing from a superstar in the NBA. So a guy being on 5 different teams. So there's been a lot of talk about his legacy and how he impacts winning and all of this. What do you think about, Kevin Durant and him switching teams once again? Is this a legacy builder potentially here with the Rockets, or is this could be another stain on his record?
Well, this situation that he's coming in with the Rock, he has all the pieces. He has all the pieces. What I know what he's chasing is that ring, because that legacy, like Michael Jordan has always say, you could be judged, but you could be put on a high pedestal with the rings you got.
Yes.
But this right here would put at least KD closer, a whole lot closer than the other teams that he was on, to have that winning edge towards breaking down of getting that what they chasing, that NBA title.
Yeah, absolutely.
So with that, man, it's just going to be important on how he bring his morale, his mentality to this group.
Absolutely.
Either he's going to blend or they're going to He's gonna be an outcast. And
Yeah.
I hope he don't be an outcast. Me knowing Kevin Durant, which I'm blessed to referee him as well. He's a good kid as well. He's going to blend. But if they blend, I'm telling you, they're gonna be hard to stop.
Yeah.
And I think for the rest of the teams that he was on, this nucleus right here has all the pieces.
Yeah.
For him to win the NBA title.
Yeah,
period.
I think it's a make or break type of situation for if you're Kevin Durant, because like you said, the pieces are already laid out. It's already in place. This team was already number 2 in the West last year before you got there. So there's expectations coming into this. Didn't work out in Phoenix for I think a multitude of reasons. He played a part in that, but I think coaching played a part in that. I think personnel played the biggest part in that. Putting 3-4 shooting guards on one team and then throwing Kevin Durant out there and saying, go win us games. I don't think this.
I agree with you. The pieces in Phoenix was lackadaisical. To me. I think that they had the wrong personnel around him. But this personnel that he has now in Houston, it's going to be up to him. It's going to be up how he contribute, how he blend in. Either he'll be an outcast or he's going to come in and they're going to caress him and they're going to win a lot of games. I'm telling you.
I
and
think,
then the city of Houston, man, University of Houston, and Texas Southern, all man, it's a state, a city, to whereas I guarantee you, man, all the accolades that he's going to get with the support from fan base is going to be off the chain up there.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I can't wait to catch a couple of games out there in Houston. With Kevin Durant now going over to Houston, we're looking at the Thunder. They've won the championship coming out of the West. The Mavs are projected to be pretty good next year if Kyrie can come back healthy. Obviously, they've got the number 1 pick. I talked about on the show a couple weeks ago. I don't know exactly how that happens. You trade Luka, and then all of a sudden you get the number 1 pick. That's for everybody else to decide.
That's off to that GM.
Off
to that GM.
Nico Harrison pulling off some incredible things down there. Looking at the West, is this Thunder team still considered that favorite to be able to come out and dominate in the West? Because, there's a couple other pieces going to be added now. The Rockets getting a little better. The Mavs are going to be better. We'll see if the Lakers will be better. I know they'll be talked about if nothing else, but we'll see if they are able to put the pieces around LeBron and Luka as well. Are the Thunder still that dog, in your opinion? No, it's just the day after the finals, but coming out of that Western Conference.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Until you take the dog down, they still the dog. You know what I'm saying? So they have the NBA championship. Now, do they have the nucleus? Like Wayne was just saying before he left, the core group is tremendous.
Yes.
Tremendously young. So they know how to win. They're just proven. So yeah, they will be the dog until they are taken down. So now, do other teams in the West pretty much have the nucleus to defeat them? Yeah, they do. They're growing too. But until it's proven, until it's done, they are still a dog.
Yeah, and then the Thunder being able to hang the hat on the defensive end, I think, is what separates them from a lot of the teams. Yes. All of their star players are great defenders to go along with it. Jalen Williams is one of the only guys this year in the league to make an All-NBA team and an All-Defensive team.
And then that's one of the main core reasons why they will be the dog. That defense.
Yes.
I'm a firm believer that when you're dealing with teams, whether if it's any sport, defense wins championships.
Yes.
And they have the mindset. The Thunder, who I'm talking about, has a defensive mindset to win championships. And they're young about doing it. That's the biggest thing.
Yes.
That's the curve. We just talked about Kendrick Williams. He's the heart and soul of that team.
Absolutely.
The elder statesman, and he's young.
Yeah. He's not even 30 yet.
Yeah, man. It's incredible. So they will be the dog until they're dethroned.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think until somebody knocks them off of that throne, they've got to be looked at as those top guys because they still have the assets to go out there and make this team better, which sounds strange.
Correct.
I know even before the playoffs, everybody was saying, do they make a trade for somebody and try to bring somebody else into this group, into this nucleus? One of the reasons I'm glad that they won, so they won't try to do that. They won't try to over-tweak the roster and over-tweak different things with this team.
That's what we're talking about with Houston.
Yes.
That's what we're talking about bringing KD in. The GM over there is, I mean, trust me, man, he could either make or break that roster over there in Houston by bringing KD in. Because just like we just said, they're wondering, do we need to bring somebody of a KD in to get us over that hump, or do we stick with the nucleus that we had? So it's going to be very important for KD to have his mentality right when he goes.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree with that. And the Thunder are on their way to what could potentially become a dynasty out there in Oklahoma City. Before we go on the break, the draft is coming up now. Now it kind of switches over quickly back over to the NBA draft. You've been refereeing collegiately for a long time, got a chance to see a lot of these kids. What are those things that, in your opinion, that teams are looking for out of these kids when they're coming into the draft? Because A lot of the guys are 18-year-old raw prospects. Some of the guys are older, 22, 23-year-olds that have got a chance to play a lot of ball. What do you think those guys are looking for in this draft process is going to say, okay, I think this is a guy that can help our team. That can help our team in the future.
I'm going to tell you now, they already know what the talent that they need on the floor. It's now what it is that they can produce off the floor.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So it's the representation type thing of what they're going to do if a franchise is going to give you $20, $30 million for these kids. So they're going to be looking at how they carry themselves off the court. When they meet and greet, depending on who they meet and greet within the organization, can they speak well? Can they represent well? And they not, buying these luxurious cars and getting speeding tickets for this and that, things of that thing. So now when you get in the pro system, they know that you can play. It's off the court. It's off the court. The morale, who you are as a person and what they need to understand. They is the players in themselves who need to understand. When you're a professional, it doesn't matter where you at. You're a professional. They think that you need to be mentally prepared to be for that professionalism. Or it's who you are with your personality. Yeah. So that's what gets us a lot. Or as athletes, we get in that professional mindset, and we want to go play, but the role off the court is just as important. Yeah. So that's what them GMs and them owners are looking at. Yeah. Is how this person going to handle $20, $30, $40 million.
It's a big lifestyle change. Yeah.
They know they can make a layup, they can shoot free throws, they can play some defense. They understand that. But how are you going to do what you're going to produce off the court? Are you going to represent yourself and as well as the organization that's giving you this type of money? That's the biggest thing to me.
Yeah, I think the mental plays such a huge part, and everybody wants to, of course, work on their game and work on all the things that have to do with whatever their particular sport and playing. But that mental side, like you said, is just as important, if not bigger or more important than what you can actually do on the field. Because they'll keep a Ken Rich around on the team because you know how to act. You know how to come out here and do your role. You're not going to complain when you come in, as opposed to somebody that might have been somewhere else averaging 20, 25 points. Maybe they were in college averaging 20, but you don't know how to act off the court. We can't trust you with – because at the end of the day, the NBA and all of these leagues, this is a business. So when we're drafting you, we're making an investment. We want to see our return on investment. We don't want to invest $40 million into somebody that we can't trust for $40 million.
And that's the mentality that I think a lot of athletes forgets in this. Oh, I get this $20 million, what I'm going to do, this and that, and that. Don't understand they need to invest this, or they got taxes for this, or how can I generate more general wealth without my contract, having money. All of that stuff comes into your professional mindset. Of course, when you come into these arenas, which you know that you can play, you can play. We can name examples of the difference from somebody know how to play on the court versus not handling their business off the court.
Yeah.
We just talked about Desmond Bain, where he come from. We understand, that aspect of he leaving over there and the star, the difference. So it's tough, man. Of me being a general manager, I know it's understandable to whereas they, writing contracts and things of that nature, but my whole thing, me being a general manager, who you are off that court is more than who you are on that court.
Absolutely. And once we give you the money, it's only going to personify more of who you are. If you're a good guy, we're going to see more of it. If you're not a good guy,
I tell anybody this: it doesn't matter if your lifestyle changes, especially you making that type of money. Your environment going to change. Yes. It's what it is. You can't make that type of money and still be in the luxury of this type of brand of who you representing.
Absolutely,
it's going to change. Yeah. So either you're going to change with that. Nobody don't want to say you want to get down here and because you made this type of money, your mentality changed, and you want to be not dealing with your homeboys back from the hood or whatever it may be. Yeah. But regardless, if you think that's not going to change, it's still going to change.
Yeah,
it's going to change. So either you're going to change with that change, represent, understand, you know how to act when you're with your homeboys versus that change up there as a new environment. Pay for somebody to teach you the luxury of blending in something that you are unfamiliar with. One thing I was taught by Bobby Jacobs who actually got me started refereeing was old Waco High principal. He told me, man, Keith, you got to understand, off the court, people going to be watching you. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you don't want them to watch. They're going to either assume, they're going to accuse, or whatever it may be, depending on how you act off that court.
Absolutely.
So, I practice every day. It doesn't matter. If I'm in unfamiliar waters, I'm going to be familiar with my attitude. I'm going to be familiar with how I greet people, on how I treat people. That's something that I can control. all is well with me doing negative situation. If the negative situation come up, I just gracefully say, man, all is well. I look at it as a positive and move on. But you have to learn from that. But looking at these players coming out $20, $30 million, and off the court is very invaluable, more invaluable to me than it is them making layups on the court.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Folks, we're here with Keith Kimball, a longtime collegiate ref. At Wayne, let me know, WISD Hall of Famer in himself, former MCC Highlander as well, too, man. So we got to talk about that. We got to go into a quick break, though. When we come back, we got to talk some more football. We'll talk some more about the NBA and what's going to happen after the championship, and we'll talk about a few local topics here as well on Centex Primetime. So stay tuned and stay locked in. We'll be right back after this short break.
My name is Debbie Kimbrell. I am the administrative assistant here at Anderson Chapel. I also work as part of the media ministry. It was great working with Lighthouse. Everyone was very professional, came in to do video recording and streaming for a conference that we hosted here on time. They did what they needed to do, was seamless and transparent. It was great. And feedback, everyone was impressed. So it went out, it was a conference level, so a state level event, and everyone was impressed with the product and the result. We got the DVDs too, which people purchased, and they were impressed with those. It was great overall.
This is why you need Centex Primetime. Jalen Gillis brings the realness. Dive into the heart of sports with the most passionate commentary around. From pro to high school, Jalen's got the insight and energy you crave. Catch all the action weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. on the Centex Sports Network, only on YouTube. Join the conversation and elevate your sports knowledge with Centex Primetime. Don't miss it.
Need video or audio solutions? Lighthouse Streaming, a full-scale media agency, can transform any event. Check this out. We're talking live streaming that's crisp and clear, event audio that hits every note, and church video and audio solutions that'll enhance worship. Corporate events, we got those on lock too. From concerts to conferences, Lighthouse Streaming and Audio makes your vision shine. Book your appointment now at lighthousestreaming.com or call 254-252-4206 for a free consultation. Let's elevate your event and light up the stage.
What's up, everybody? My name is Jalen Gillis. You may know me from Centex Sports Network. We're starting a new platform, Recruit 254. Our mission is to highlight the amazing student athletes of 254. So if you're in the Waco, Killeen, Temple, Mart, Marlin, or any surrounding 254 areas, follow this platform and join the movement. Recruit 254. 254, let's run it up.
My name is Debbie Kimbrell. I am the administrative assistant here at Anderson Chapel. I also work as part of the media ministry. It was great working with Lighthouse. Everyone was very professional, came in to do video recording and streaming for a conference that we hosted here on time. They did what they needed to do, was seamless and transparent. It was great. And feedback, everyone was impressed. So it went out, it was a conference level, so a state level event, and everyone was impressed with the product and the result. We got the DVDs too, which people purchased, and they were impressed with those. It was great overall.
This is why you need Centex Primetime. Jalen Gillis brings the realness. Dive into the heart of sports with the most passionate commentary around. From pro to high school, Jalen's got the insight and energy you crave. Catch all the action weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. on the Centex Sports Network, only on YouTube. Join the conversation and elevate your sports knowledge with Centex Primetime. Don't miss it.
Need video or audio solutions? Lighthouse Streaming, a full-scale media agency, can transform any event. Check this out. We're talking live streaming that's crisp and clear, event audio that hits every note, and church video and audio solutions that'll enhance worship. Corporate events, we got those on lock too. From concerts to conferences, Lighthouse Streaming and Audio makes your vision shine. Book your appointment now at lighthousestreaming.com or call 254-252-4206 for a free consultation. Let's elevate your event and light up the stage.
What's up, everybody? My name is Jalen Gillis. You may know me from Centex Sports Network. We're starting a new platform, Recruit 254. Our mission is to highlight the amazing student athletes of 254. So if you're in the Waco, Killeen, Temple, Mart, Marlin, or any surrounding 254 areas, follow this platform and join the movement. Recruit 254. 254, let's run it up.
My name is Debbie Kimbrell. I am the administrative assistant here at Anderson Chapel. I also work as part of the media ministry. It was great working with Lighthouse. Everyone was very professional, came in to do video recording and streaming for a conference that we hosted here on time. They did what they needed to do, was seamless and transparent. It was great. And feedback, everyone was impressed. So it went out, it was a conference level, so a state level event, and everyone was impressed with the product and the result. We got the DVDs too, which people purchased, and they were impressed with those. It was great overall.
This is why you need Centex Primetime. Jalen Gillis brings the realness. Dive into the heart of sports with the most passionate commentary around. From pro to high school, Jalen's got the insight and energy you crave. Catch all the action weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. on the Centex Sports Network, only on YouTube. Join the conversation and elevate your sports knowledge with Centex Primetime. Don't miss it.
Need video or audio solutions? Lighthouse Streaming, a full-scale media agency, can transform any event. Check this out. We're talking live streaming that's crisp and clear, event audio that hits every note, and church video and audio solutions that'll enhance worship. Corporate events, we got those on lock too. From concerts to conferences, Lighthouse Streaming and Audio makes your vision shine. Book your appointment now at lighthousestreaming.com or call 254-252-4206 for a free consultation. Let's elevate your event and light up the stage.
What's up, everybody? My name is Jalen Gillis. You may know me from Centex Sports Network. We're starting a new platform, Recruit 254. Our mission is to highlight the amazing student athletes of 254. So if you're in the Waco, Killeen, Temple, Mart, Marlin, or any surrounding 254 areas, follow this platform and join the movement. Recruit 254. 254, let's run it up.
My name is Debbie Kimbrell. I am the administrative assistant here at Anderson Chapel. I also work as part of the media ministry. It was great working with Lighthouse. Everyone was very professional, came in to do video recording and streaming for a conference that we hosted here on time. They did what they needed to do, was seamless and transparent. It was great. And feedback, everyone was impressed. So it went out, it was a conference level, so a state level event, and everyone was impressed with the product and the result. We got the DVDs too, which people purchased, and they were impressed with those. It was great overall.
This is why you need Centex Primetime. Jalen Gillis brings the realness. Dive into the heart of sports with the most passionate commentary around. From pro to high school, Jalen's got the insight and energy you crave. Catch all the action weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. on the Centex Sports Network, only on YouTube. Join the conversation and elevate your sports knowledge with Centex Primetime. Don't miss it.
Need video or audio solutions? Lighthouse Streaming, a full-scale media agency, can transform any event. Check this out. We're talking live streaming that's crisp and clear, event audio that hits every note, and church video and audio solutions that'll enhance worship. Corporate events, we got those on lock too. From concerts to conferences, Lighthouse Streaming and Audio makes your vision shine. Book your appointment now at lighthousestreaming.com or call 254-252-4206 for a free consultation. Let's elevate your event and light up the stage.
What's up, everybody? My name is Jalen Gillis. You may know me from Centex Sports Network. We're starting a new platform, Recruit 254. Our mission is to highlight the amazing student athletes of 254. So if you're in the Waco, Killeen, Temple, Mart, Marlin, or any surrounding 254 areas, follow this platform and join the movement. Recruit 254. 254, let's run it up.
My name is Debbie Kimbrell. I am the administrative assistant here at Anderson Chapel. I also work as part of the media ministry. It was great working with Lighthouse. Everyone was very professional, came in to do video recording and streaming for a conference that we hosted here on time. They did what they needed to do, was seamless and transparent. It was great. And feedback, everyone was impressed. So it went out, it was a conference level, so a state level event. And everyone was impressed with the product and the result. We got the DVDs too, which people purchased, and they were impressed with those. It was great overall.
This is why you need Centex Primetime. Jalen Gillis brings the realness. Dive into the heart of sports with the most passionate commentary around. From pro to high school, Jalen's got the insight and energy you crave. Catch all the action weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. on the Centex Sports Network, only on YouTube. Join the conversation and elevate your sports knowledge with Centex Primetime. Don't miss it.
Need video or audio solutions? Lighthouse.
Hello and welcome back into Centex Primetime. Jalen Gillis still here. Hour number 2 of the show today. Want to thank everybody for tuning in with us here so far on Centex Primetime as we get the week started. Just got done wrapping up talking about the NBA Finals and what they were able to do. The Thunder win the championship. Kenrich Williams will bring the Larry O'Brien back here to Waco, Texas. We get a Waco native to get the first NBA championship for somebody from Waco, man. So shout out to him once again. Talked a little bit about the state of the NBA after the fact. Talked about Kevin Durant going off to Houston Rockets, Desmond Bain down to the Magic. Got some more we got to talk about here today on Centex Primetime. Still joined in studio by Mr. Keith Kimball as he's here with us on this Monday afternoon. A couple of local topics here, folks, before we jump back into it. The state 7-on-7 tournaments are getting ready to start this weekend, and Waco is being represented well. So we have Midway is playing in group play right now, are getting ready to play in group play a couple of days from now. La Vega is out there as well, being representing Bosqueville is representing Waco in the lower levels of the 7-on-7 tournament. So Waco being represented well. Keith, I know you're not going to be refereeing any of that outside in the heat, man.
I don't do no outside sports. Mosquitoes and heat.
Yeah, I don't blame you. That 7-on-7 tournament is hot every single year that they're out there. But definitely want to shout out to all those kids, man. They're going to get a chance to compete in that 7-on-7 tournament. And at one of the divisions, hopefully one of our kids will be able to bring home that 7-on-7 trophy as we get ready for football season starting in just a couple of months. The bigger football team that we have down here in the Central Texas area, the Baylor Bears in Waco, doing some big things. They kick off their season on the 29th, playing against Auburn in their season opener here at home. Keith, what do you think about the Bears getting a tough season opener to start that one off? And they're getting it on Friday Night Lights. It's going to be on a Friday night. I see the billboard as I was on the way out here today. They got a billboard that says we got the blackout game August 29th. They want the whole city to come out to that. What do you think about them opening up their season against a tough opponent like Auburn?
Man, that's going to be a tough game, but I guarantee you Waco will come out to support.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That will be one jam-packed
Absolutely.
arena. I guarantee you it will be. But that's hats off to the head coach over there at Baylor, man, for actually, taking those type of challenges, bringing that type of play to Waco. You don't do nothing but a bright star for Waco.
Yes.
Bringing that type of talent to come in and play in Baylor, it's going to be great. It's going to be good. I take my hats off to Baylor University for doing that, but that's going to be a nice environment.
Man.
It's going to be well for us, generating the community to come out to support for as, the workforce around, businesses around. It's going to get good eye for the businesses to bring that type of talent down there. But it's going to be something for everybody to look forward to. And I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully I can get me some tickets to get down there myself.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'll be trying to find my way to get into the building as well. That's definitely going to be a huge game on a Friday. They change it up a little bit. We don't get to see a lot of college football on a Friday night. Now, I'm not sure if some of the high schools here are that happy about it being on. I think that's the season opener for a lot of high schoolers too.
But it's Texas, though. It's Texas. It's Texas football. It doesn't,
you go anywhere.
I don't think it's going to hurt the high schools. It might hurt their attendance just a little bit. But anywhere you can find a good Texas high school football game, regardless. But That Auburn coming down here, Baylor game on that Friday is going to be something to watch.
One thing it will hurt is that I-35 traffic. So hopefully y'all get where y'all need to
get
before
there early.
Friday.
Get there early.
Everybody traveling to your kids' first game. Make sure you leave early. As soon as you get off work, just go and get on the highway because that traffic going to be
plan ahead.
Plan ahead definitely because they stadium right off of 35, so you're going to get caught in that traffic. Baylor, and a little bit of Baylor recruiting news. Last weekend they just hosted the 5-star D and #1 player in Texas, and Jamarian Carlton, who plays at Temple High School, had his visit down here as well. Baylor's got a couple of big commitments over the last few weeks from some local guys. Keith, you were an athlete coming out of this Waco area, man. Talk about the importance a little bit of Baylor being able to recruit these local guys because you know firsthand how much talent is just in this greater Waco area on just about every single sport. So talk a little bit about the importance for them to be able to try to keep some of these kids at home.
I tell you what, two things I look at it for as, you can keep these local talent here is winning in your facilities.
Yes.
Baylor has put a lot into their facilities for as the money to build that prestige of eye-opener for the average 17, 18-year-old guy to come in. When they come in and looking at these facilities and they can see banners, can see winning culture, things of that nature, it would draw them to the point to where they can, especially if you're local and then family can come to support with those facilities, and as well as, winning process and what they want to do, that can draw more attention to these local good athletes to stay right at home to come to Baylor.
Yes.
And Baylor has done a great job with their facilities. They are building tremendously. I like the new arena that they have for the basketball. It's a great atmosphere. It's a smaller atmosphere than what Pearl Center was, but it is jam-packed up in there.
Yeah,
and you can get a 17, 18-year-old guy to come up in there to see the type of facilities and that type of enthusiasm. It can generate a lot of pub for them to actually recruit whomever it is they want to recruit, the high-name recruits or even the local ones around there.
Absolutely. And like you said, they've put a lot of the last 5-6 years, Baylor's went all out as far as improving their facilities, being able to pull off building 2 stadiums in a 10-year period. Nice. People aren't able to do that in other cities. For them to be able to pull off 2 very nice facilities in McLean Stadium and now with the new basketball arena that they've got down there as well, you can definitely tell that Baylor is putting their money where their mouth is. They want to back up the talk and be able to back up what they were able to do. Their basketball team, we talked about their new arena, and their team a few years ago had a big part in playing and how they were able to get this new arena. You had a front row seat to seeing that team as well. Yeah,
loud. Do you mean? I mean, there's some places that I can expect, that is going to be loud for as, sometimes I think the crowd in itself can help the home team. And Baylor now has probably one of the loudest arenas that I've been in. It's very loud.
Yes.
Everything is, and then the way that it's designed, it's pretty much straight up from the court towards the seats. So everybody's looking down at the court. So when they yelling, all the sound is coming where? To one location.
Absolutely.
So it's me hitting whistles after whistle to get everybody to stop because it's so loud up in there. Sometimes we can't even hear the game horn or even the shot clock horn going off. So, I think that's a tremendous thing that they've done to where they structured and built their arena to a point to where the crowd can be involved. And that's college basketball.
Yeah,
man.
exactly.
It is what it is. It makes it good, and it's always sold out.
Yeah,
Foster Pavilion is always sold out. So it's roughly good, and it shows that Baylor is committed to winning, to doing the process of what they want to do to improve their facilities, to draw the attention of the local talent that comes around.
Absolutely, and you're seeing even guys at other places taking a page out of the book on how that is built, because we just watched Steve Ballmer and what they built at the Clippers and how they built their arena. It's the same thing, just on a bigger scale, but everybody's looking down. They've got the stands that most people don't put stands right behind the goal. They put their stands right behind the goal to affect that away team when they're going up and shooting free throws. So I think it's, what Baylor did building that was huge.
Speaking of the Clippers arena, I was blessed to do UCLA and Gonzaga, the first college basketball game in that arena.
Wow.
And it was loud.
Yeah.
And that structure, the way it was built, just like Foster Pavilion, pretty much what you're saying. So and all the noise is generated right there on the court. And, man, I'm telling you, man, I just think that's a great thing that Baylor did on how they structurally built that.
Absolutely.
To help the fans generate more enthusiasm for the home team.
Yes.
And it's a great thing.
Yeah, I love the new arena, man. I want to be able to catch some of those games down here. Key, I don't want to put you too much on the spot, man, but what are some of the craziest environments that you've been in? Like you said, been reffing over 20 years. You've seen it from the Final Four, multiple Final Fours, all the way to doing just regular games, conference games.
Right.
What are some of those just crazy environments that can just tick off in your head when you start to think back of some of those loud environments you've been in, some of those huge games that you've been in?
Man, I that's a great question. I'm gonna tell you now, it is nothing louder than Fog Allen Fieldhouse, University of Kansas.
Yes.
It is just a different environment up there. That's where the mecca of basketball started, man. And you go into that arena, they already probably 10 points ahead of the visiting team, just because of the loudness on how they project their images on what they're doing with the cheerleading, with the music or whatever it may be, to where they drawing this attention to where it be loud. So Fog Allen by far is the best to me, or as the arena structure of what's going on. Now, as far as legacy or things of that nature, most definitely, you look at the Dukes in the Carolina. But what you see on TV, it seems big. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, they're at Duke. They probably hold, 6,500? The screen shows the Cameron Crazies.
Yeah.
That's where they keep it at. But on the other side, it's roughly just a small group.
Yeah.
But by far, Fog Allen is, man, the loudest, the most.
I know that fans are loud for sure. I can think back to one of my good friends. His dad was a coach at Baylor for a long time, Coach Norwood, and we used to get tickets to going to those games. And I remember Kansas College game day was coming in, and it's when Baylor had Pierre Jackson and Quincy Miller and all those guys.
Great group.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite Baylor teams. And Kansas comes down. I think they had Thomas Robinson on that team, and Kansas ended up pulling off at the very end of the game to be able to win, and they started up that Rock Talk Jayhawk, man. It was my first time hearing it. I was like, where did all these Kansas fans come from? Like, it just, all of a sudden, it was so loud.
It's amazing, that atmosphere. And then, for me in itself, I've always, me coming up before I was blessed to get at this level, to be at certain locations. I always see the Dukes and the Carolinas and the Kansases, Kentuckys. I'm like, man, I want to referee in that one day. And then when you do, I got to pinch yourself. You be like, man, I'm in this environment. Butterflies come around.
Yeah,
I mean, I've been doing this for a long time. Like you asked me, I started in '97.
Yes, sir.
It's been a long road for me.
Absolutely.
But I still get butterflies. Get butterflies. So it takes me probably a whistle or two, so I can chime myself to a point where I can calm myself down. But it's amazing to be in those type of environments, man. It is, and I still get butterflies right today.
Yeah. I can only imagine, especially being in those, like you said, those legacy type games, the Duke, North Carolinas. I mean, so much history within those games. Being in Fog Allen Fieldhouse up there in Kansas, and being able to be at the new arena there with the Clippers, man. I think that's huge too. I love what Steve Ballmer's doing out there with the Clippers and their ownership, building a lot of different things. Finally getting their own arena. I figured after a while,
he's not afraid to spend money.
Oh yeah,
I tell you, that, he will spend that money, and he did a great job with that arena up there.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think Baylor is doing the same.
Yes,
yes. When you get to a point to where you want to invest in sports and win, you got to spend money to make money.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here's what it is.
Absolutely.
And I think Baylor and Steve is doing that for their organization. So it's hats off to them. Hats off to them, man.
Definitely. Baylor putting in some work on and off the field with the new facilities and everything that they're bringing. Keith, when we look at the college level, talking about college basketball, where your expertise is at, we've seen the Baylor team, and I talked about this a couple of years ago. They were able to win with a veteran team, and we talked about the one-and-done guys a little bit earlier in hour number one. What do you think, in your opinion, are those staples that a college team has to – because it's such a different game than the pros or even from high school. Because each and every year you're going to get somewhat of different guys coming in and out.
Correct.
You're going to mix in different personalities. You might get your coach's pool, go over here. He might get a job offer here, doing that. Some of the other things have to go into it. What are those staples that a program has to have to be able to be successful consistently? Because we see on the college ranks a lot. We'll see teams that spark up and they're good for a few years and then they'll come back down to earth, or maybe they'll go back up.
Right.
What are those staples you think a college team has to have in order to build a successful program?
Well, that's a great question, man. I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to take all hats off to Scott Drew. Scott Drew got down here, man. He was it was a hailstorm at Baylor.
Yes.
We all know that. We all know the turmoil that was going on. But one thing I know with Scott Drew as a man and who he is, he has morals. he has values, and he has a system that they know that works. And I think that for us, Baylor's coaching staff, just pinpointing them, because all of the controversy when Scott came, what they had going on, he stuck to those morals, those values, and he had a system that works. So if you can stick to that and stick to those morals and what you believe in and stick to that system, you might have to change that system up just a little bit here because you got a certain talent coming in of that nature. But if you don't want to chime things up to a point to where it can get a little bit misunderstanding amongst the coaching staff and the players that you're doing by changing your system up. You don't want to do that. That's just my opinion. But with Scott Drew, I know for a fact I deal with him. Matter of fact, I'm going to be blessed to see him in the morning. They're going to do their little green and white game. He'll be right over there. But he had a system of morals, standards that he wanted to meet. And take my hat off to him and his coaching staff, especially early. He had players that believed in that system.
Yes.
And if you can get that, and that's going to start with having guys being there 2-3 years, which we talked about early, NIL versus these one and dones. You have that system, and you stick to it, and you believe in it, and you get the right temperament of players that can come in. Oh man, it's sky's the limit.
Yeah.
It's proof with Scott Drew.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's proof with him.
Absolutely.
I was honored to do his championship game. I was in the game. I get a lot of people saying, Keith, you from Waco and you had Baylor on that. Man, that doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
Don't bother me at all. Baylor commit fouls, I put that whistle on Baylor. Do you understand?
Absolutely.
If they do something good, I'm not chiming to show any type of emphasis on I appreciate what they're doing versus the other team. No, it doesn't matter. I mean, you look at my record dealing with Baylor, I put more fouls on them than I do anybody else.
Yeah.
But the respect and the morale and the morals of the value that Scott Drew developed, it makes me have a respect for him.
Yes.
Communication with him and everything. But going back to your question at hand, you got to have those morals. You got to have those morals. You got to have the values of what you want to establish in that system that you believe in, and you bring in the right player to fit it. Man, the sky's the limit for what's winning.
Absolutely, and you brought up a great point. Scott Drew, who I think is actually underappreciated in college basketball for what he was able to do, not just for the wins, but like you said, Baylor was in basketball hell when he came to this point, man.
God,
I mean,
were they?
the program was at the bottom of where it could have been, and to see what he was able to
almost
do
at the death penalty.
Like exactly.
SMU back in the day.
Exactly. Very close to being able to getting that, and to be able to turn that program around and not only win a national championship, which kind of just validated all of the hard work that he had put in, but to be able to consistently recruit. I think Scott Drew is one of those guys that's at the very top of the list when you think about the level of talent that has come through Waco. I think now this will be the fourth year that in a row that they put somebody in the lottery.
Right.
With VJ Edgecombe coming out this year, and it's probably going to be a top 5 pick. The level of consistency he's had in just being able to recruit guys. This isn't, Baylor's not a Duke program where you can just throw up the Duke flag and just say, well, you can come up down here, or Kentucky when they had Calipari, if you can just come here. He had to build all that from the ground up and is building into a program like that as far as the level of talent that he's been able to recruit, man. Like you said, you've seen it firsthand, being able to work with him, being able to work and referee in the games he was in, including that huge national championship game. I think, like you said, a very underappreciated coach in college basketball for what he was been able to do.
I'm a firm believer, man. There's times to whereas we in the heat of the battle, Scott and I had great communication. There's time that he's irate and I got to bring him down, But it's one thing that I can respect about Scott. He respects what I do. I respect what he do. And the way that we communicate is on a sound basis of understanding professionalism.
Yes.
And that's the type of morals that he brings with the standard for as a coach. And if it's me, and you would ask me, man, what type of coach you want to referee or work for night in, night out, it would be a Scott Drew. I think a lot of other coaches should look at the temperament and the demeanor and how he treats things. A lot of them can learn a lot from the man.
Yeah.
And that's not me just because I'm here in Waco with him or whatever it want to be. It's just me on a personal basis of knowing who he is as a man, as a coach in itself. So hats off to him, man. I appreciate him a lot. And to be honest with you, hey, I can always give him a call if it's something of a concern that I might, and he can give me a call on something, a concern that he might need, or whatever it may be, whether if it's about a coaching strategy on a rule with officials or things of that nature. He give me a call, and we talk that things out. And this is how his interpretation of what it is I explained about a certain rule that he might have a question about. But that's the type of line of communication that he gives. It's a professional type thing.
Yes.
Not a me versus that coach.
Yeah.
A lot of coaches be so irate the way they deliver their message. It can be harmful for the communication that's needed.
Yeah.
That coach might be right, but the way they bring their demeanor and the way they shouting and throwing it, we don't want to listen to that.
Yeah, exactly.
Something Scott Drew don't do.
Yeah.
Even words as in, Keith, can I ask you a question? Most definitely.
Yeah.
Versus Keith, you missed that. Blah, blah, going negative. I'm not perfect. I know I'm not. I might have missed it, but the way that you bring your message, you missing the point of why I'm going to give you this technical foul.
Yeah.
So things like that, I don't have to worry about with Scott, man. I take my hats off to the man. I love working for him.
Yeah, yeah. And builds a great program, still building a great program. Has done another great year of recruiting, bringing in some more top talent. I seen Andre Iguodala II, his son committed up to Baylor and bringing more talent down there. Looking back at that 21 team that you got to see all the way in the national championship, when you watched them early, did you see, okay, these guys might be the real deal and be able to go out there and do something?
I had no doubt. I had no doubt. It's one thing that I do in the summertime, during the time periods of the summer when they are able to practice, and then going into the year, we would get some officials to go over there to work with Scott and his group. That group from day one, I said, man, they can play for a national title. They can win a national title.
Yeah.
They had a bunch of dogs on their team.
Yes, they
Do you
did.
understand what I'm saying? They had some Mitchell and, and them dudes was dogs.
Yeah.
They was hard. They would run through a brick wall for Scott Drew. So yeah, to answer your question, I knew it from day one. When I first saw him, this by far can be a national title team.
I definitely can agree with that, because watching them in 2020 before the season it got shut down, I was like, man, I was upset about the Baylor team, because I'm like, man, they had a chance to go out there and win a national championship. Thankfully, everybody came back the next year and were able to win it. Because
from the throwing the ball up, them guys guard you 94 by 50.
Yes.
That's the whole court. I think Davion Mitchell used to, man.
Yes.
His guarding style. The guy go leave the court and go use the bathroom. He can come back and tell you what to do. That's just how much of the intensity that they had. And they might have a lot of intensity, but they was very smart.
Yes,
them guys played well together. They like enjoying playing with each other, and that's something that it's hard to get, to have the value of team chemistry where everybody like each other. And that team there from day one, I'm telling you, man.
Everybody was locked in, and he got a chance to bring guys back.
Butler,
I think that
all them guys.
man. That Mark Vital and Jared Butler,
Everyday John.
Everyday John. Yeah, it was such a big part. They were able to keep these guys together, and it shows that camaraderie that can be built over multiple years. Even with bringing in guys, Davion transferred in, and Maceo Teague transferred in to get them into the fold. COVID shut everything down, but that did give them extra time to be able to gel with each other, to be able to play with each other, to learn each other. Definitely one of my all-time favorite teams to go out there and watch, man, and seeing them do it. You've been all over the place reffing and been able to go into different conferences, to different cities. Do you have any favorite cities? Okay, well, I know I'm gonna get to stop here if I'm going out here to referee here. I know I'll be able to go to this place or go by this city. Any favorite spots, any favorite cities you like?
You know what? That's a good question, but honestly, no. I really don't, because, you might be blessed to turn your TV on and see me refereeing on TV, but the travel from getting to one arena to the next is brutal.
Yeah.
So we have to really dedicate our time wisely on what we're doing from one arena to the next arena. 4:30 a.m. wake-up calls for a 6 a.m. flight. Got to get to bed early.
Yeah.
We get there 6 a.m. flight. Hopefully we'll be in the city about 12 noon if nothing goes wrong with the flight in itself. Have a 7 o'clock game, got to be there at 5:30. So we might get in the city depending on, flight structure, is bag is late or whatever it may be, 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
Then we got to be in the arena. So when I'm describing it, to give you more substance and understanding, I was on a timetable. I couldn't enjoy a city if I wanted to.
Absolutely.
People be like, my kids would tell me, well, Dad, we going to L.A. Yeah, we're going to L.A., but I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
When I get in L.A., it's time, I got to sleep. I got to grab me some sleep, So those type of things of cities you want to try to enjoy, and then if it's an off day, most definitely I will. So, things such as L.A., most definitely, big city.
Yeah.
Dallas, big city, something of that nature. But throughout, going from one arena to the other, I'm on a timetable on what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Was getting rest, proper sleep, eating, things of that nature. So it's an ongoing thing. And then, you just have 125 days during the normal season to ref. I've been able to work out of those 125 days. Our highest has been 119. So that's 6 days off.
Yeah.
So never want to do that. That was early in my career. Shit, 53 years old. Ain't doing that no more. So, but that's how ongoing it can be. So structurally, I know I was bluntly about saying no because of me looking at the situations on how I'm getting from one arena to the next. It's very complicated, so I didn't have time to enjoy the city.
Man, it makes a lot of sense, and you giving a lot of insight to just the behind the scenes of the referee work, man. You're doing it at the highest level. Talk a little bit about, you just touched on it, but some of the preparation that has to go in with it. For one, staying in shape year round to be able to do it. That has to be at the top of the list.
Man, I wanted to apologize to you when I came in here. I just left. Down there in the Supreme Park, people might see me doing my walk or what I do. I walk and I work out. I got to consistently, first and foremost, me exercising for my health, most definitely.
Absolutely.
But you got to understand this. Those kids and athletes that I referee every year is 17, 18, 19-year-old every year. Only thing changed on there is their face. I have a birthday every year. You know what I'm saying? So I'm getting older, but I'm still chasing this 17, 18, 19-year-old. So with me, I got to have preparations of, watching what I eat, having the consistent, protocol of getting the transitions that I need for as my body to keep up, to look apart. So a lot of cardio for me. Most definitely what I eat is very important at my age of 53. So, I get to a point to where now I'm at an age to where mentally I can go do the game. So I got to work the game smarter versus harder. You won't see me busting it from up and down the court like I used to back in my prime. So now I run to spots, get to spots, and I use open and closed looks. So I'm working smarter versus harder. But the preparation in itself, most definitely, man, I got to consistently do what I have to do. The best thing for me, like we talked earlier about these athletes and controlling their professional behavior off the court, same with us. We got to do to prepare ourselves. We got to make sure that we're doing the right things to where we can look apart. That's one thing about us as officials, for as our body structure and who we are. We could be judged on our body structure. We can look out of shape. So when we out of shape, we got me in position and miss a call, but you go to commentator saying what? Oh, you can't get to the spot. You're out of shape. I don't want that to be thrown on me. So that's some of the incentives on why most definitely I want to exercise to make sure I can look apart, and then for my health as well too. Period.
Absolutely, man. I know it's like I said earlier in the show, it's a thankless job. It's a job that goes a lot into it that we don't think about as just the everyday fan watching it. We just think, oh man, that dude didn't call a travel. This guy didn't, not even thinking about the speed of the game and how much is happening so fast. And then what if I'm tired because I just ran up and down the court 100 times?
I mean,
I don't get a chance
it's amazing on how you say that when I get, especially my uncle, man, him is very tight. A lot of people around here know him, Terrence Haynes. He's my uncle, been with me since I was high. But we could argue so much, and I'll be arguing with his points about what I missed. Well, you saying I missed this when you stopping it on your lazy boy, rewinding it. Here it is, the foul. What you say I missed, but I understand I can only see it at one speed.
Exactly.
So I mean, for me, man, it's just amazing how we what I call couch referees.
When
they can stop it, pause it, rewind it, and see all this. When I can't. I can't. Now I'm gonna be the first one to admit if I miss plays, most definitely. But I also got a lot of them right.
You got more of them right than you got wrong.
Absolutely.
That's how you got to this spot. I want to switch over a little bit, talk about some football. But before I do, you talked about some of the guys earlier, Desmond Bain, Kenrich Williams, some of these guys you got to see up close and personal. Is there anybody or even a couple of guys that you can think of, like you watched them early on in their college career and you said, okay, this guy's going to be a problem once he gets to that next level? You could see it. Like I said, you guys got a front row seat to being able to see these guys.
Good question. I got the pertinent player, Jalen Brunson, New York Knicks point guard.
Yes.
I saw that kid from the first day at Villanova master the game mentally as a point guard. I played the point guard position. The way he mastered the game and the way the questions that he asked officials, he's gaining the edge from the answers that we give him. So he's a student, philosopher, or whatever you want to call it, of the game.
Absolutely.
So to answer your question, Jalen Brunson by 4. I already knew the way he controlled the game at an early age at Villanova, and he was working for Jay Wright.
Yes.
Playing for Jay Wright at that time, and the way Jay Wright structured his offense built for Jalen to learn the game in itself. And you can see it. You can see it in New York. You know, so.
And you have to be able to master the game mentally to play. I mean, he's a smaller guard. It's not like he's going out there 6'7", 6'8". You have to be able to master angles, how I'm going to get here, how to get to one spot from here, what are my spots going to be.
Stopping on a dime,
yes.
you know, making the right decision on, you know, passes and things of that nature. By far, Jalen Brunson.
Yeah, Brunson definitely one of those guys for sure. And like you said, you got to see him earlier at Villanova. Came out of there with 2 chips, so we should have known something at some point.
MVPs on
hey,
both of them.
This guy's going to be
MVP on both of them.
Yeah,
you know, so
yeah.
By far, to answer your question, Jalen Brunson.
Yeah, definitely. Who do you think, if you had to put a name out there on who the Knicks going to bring in for their head coach? You know, they just got rid of Tibbs, got him out of there. Some people felt like prematurely. Some people felt like, okay, well, he paid his dues in there. Whichever one it is, now they got to find a guy to replace him.
It's tough, man. It's
yeah,
tough
it is.
These days,
It is.
I mean, because you just don't know the temperament of the general manager or the ownership of what they're looking for. I mean, look at Oklahoma City and Indiana's coach.
Absolutely.
Either one of them, even 35.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, what they're looking for, I mean, it just depends on a coach who can actually come in there and have the presence of grown men. Mm-hmm. You know, sometimes, man, a coach can come in and be negative to the group. They fizzle out quick. So who can come in and have the good morale to come in to handle the Knicks is going to be important. And it's going to take somebody with some tough skin.
Yes.
Who did I know to do that? I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not too much affiliated with the NBA's action, but it's going to take somebody with some thick skin to come in there to grasp the environment, to understand that they believe in what this coach is trying to do. So it's going to have to be somebody that's going to be a little tough, know how to manage their anger or whatever it may be for as expressing themselves to the group. The Phil Jacksons and all of them guys are, you know, they retired.
Yeah, exactly.
So they retired. Now you got guys coaching at 30, 35 years old, you know.
Mark Daigneault, young guy, just won a chip. He's a young dude.
You know, so the mindset is different these days, man. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough on who they bring in. It's going to be very important.
Yeah,
who they
it
bring
is.
in.
It is, absolutely. I agree. I want to go over and talk a little bit of NFL before we close the show out. Keith, I'm not sure if you're a Cowboys fan or not, but we obviously know we're a Cowboy now. Okay, here we go.
Even when they was 1-15.
Yeah. So you'll be able to talk about this a little bit. Obviously, the Cowboys gearing up for another season here, trying to rebound off of last year. Injuries played a big part in what happened to their season. Now Dak coming back healthy. They got a new coach, Coach Schottenheimer, now running the show. Dak's got a lot of pressure on his shoulders as being he's the longest tenured guy as the Cowboys, staff included. If you outside of Jerry Jones and those guys, he's the longest guy, the guy that's been there the longest. I do like the moves they made this offseason. I think they had a really good draft. It wasn't a flashy draft. It wasn't we're going to go out and just get a big name. They address needs. They get Tyler Booker in the first round. They get a good edge rusher out of Boston College in the second round. What do you think about the Cowboys season, this upcoming season, and what could be a really tough NFC East division?
I was about to say that schedule is tough.
Yes, it is.
That schedule is tough. Now, as the morale of them handling that schedule is going to be tough for them. Mm-hmm. I mean, Dak's coming off of an injury, you know, so you got some disgruntled players coming in there. Contract disputes is going on, so the morale of the group, we don't know yet. Mm-hmm. But I tell you what, whatever it is, as far as what they're lacking, they got to get it together quick because that schedule that they have is going to be rough, man. It's going to either, depending on the morale, when they coming together, how they click, on how the new coach put them together to a point to where they can believe in the expectations that the coach want to put out. It's going to be crucial. Mm-hmm. But I guarantee you within the first, second, and third game, we're going to know if they're together or not because they playing some hell of a teams.
Yeah, I mean, they opened the season for the entire NFL at Philly. Coming off a chip at Philly, man. So
and Philly didn't lose nobody.
No, All they did was add.
They added, so they got to come on with it or come on with it early.
Yeah, that division is going to be tough this year. The Eagles, obviously coming off a championship, I think they still have one of the best teams in the league. To see what Jaden Daniels was able to do just his rookie year.
What they adding Debo Samuels over there too.
Added Debo, added some more guys on the defensive side of the ball. no one's exactly sure what we're going to get out of the New York Giants. I do like their defensive line. I said it earlier. I was watching the Good Morning Football, and they were talking about them. I love what they did with their defensive line. I'm not sure about anything else with the Giants, so that's just to be seen
Like
going forward.
For sure win for
Yeah. That's
hopefully.
Hey, they got you got them week 2. So after the Eagles, whatever happens in that game, you'll be able to say, all right, well, we can go go back home and go play in New York this next year coming up. The NFL, like I said, the season is right around the corner. Going into OTAs and stuff like that. Obviously, one of the biggest stories of this offseason has just been the handling of Shedeur Sanders. That's been a huge topic from the draft. Now being there in the Cleveland Browns situation. Last week, I said on the show, he's got to keep his head on the swivel because last week he just got a speeding ticket and it was all over ESPN.
No room
front
for
news.
negativity.
I said, oh man, they're not going to let you get anything going. So he's going to have to watch the straight and narrow. What do you think about the Shedeur situation just as a whole with the draft and then him now being in Cleveland and just how everything is going so far?
You know, I don't know if it's, I guess, what his father brings to the table on why he might get negativity, but Deion Sanders, I think personally, didn't do no justice for Shedeur. By some of the things that was said, you can already see that's how far he dropped in the draft. It comes from one statement from Deion. Yeah. Only 3 teams my son gonna go to.
Absolutely.
I mean, you can't make a prediction like that with GMs and owners. Just saying that. So that might have hurt him. So
I agree.
And don't get me wrong, Deion's a good dude.
Yeah,
Deion's a good
sure.
dude. I just think he put a little bit of unnecessary negativity out for Shedeur, and how Shedeur has to face it. Now he has to own up, become a man, and once again, off the court is just as important as what he's going to do on the football field.
Absolutely.
So, and then starting out, in a Lamborghini and speeding like that, that don't do no justice for you.
No.
But now, boys talking about him as an athlete, I mean, he's a good quarterback.
Yeah.
Great quarterback.
Yeah.
He can do the audibles. He can read. Does a lot. Do I think that he should have slipped that far? No, I don't. I think he should have been in the, ranked high.
Yeah.
First round draft choice, I think.
Sure.
But with that, I think some negativity was put on him unjust from his dad.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. And so now he got to walk. That microscope is going to be on him.
Oh, yeah.
So he got to understand that and know that whatever expectations Cleveland is going to put on him, he got to meet him with no trouble behind him. Do I think that he would have the opportunity to play? Yeah, he would have the opportunity to play. I think he would start probably mid-season. My opinion, because he is that good.
Yeah.
But as far as the expectations of what he needs to do and control off the court, it's going to be centered on him, on what he needs to do.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. I mean, that, like you said, the microscope is already on you, and with the draft, like you said, his pop saying that I'm only going to play for 2 or 3 teams. That puts you in the box, at some point you overplay in your hand because you can't control anything that happens anymore. From high school through his collegiate career, you could control what happened with him, and that was his first time that they both had to realize, hey, we're not controlling anything anymore. Right. These guys are the ones making the decisions. Right. And they made that statement of showing it. And I'm pretty sure Cleveland was one of the teams he didn't pick as far as the 2 or 3 teams.
It was one for that GM say, hey, I'm going to take a chance.
Yeah.
He probably wouldn't have got drafted.
He wouldn't have. I agree with that. I said the only 2 teams at that point in the 5th round that would have drafted him was Jimmy Haslam with the Browns and possibly Jerry Jones just out of storyline, if nothing else. Those are the only 2 people I could see taking him within those couple of picks. After that, he might not have. Everybody had already kind of washed their hands of the situation.
Absolutely.
They passed on him 5 times.
I'm trying to prove a point.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why I say, man, you're making that statement. I think it was hard for Shedeur. And, hey, here's what it is. Now, do his son now has an opportunity to prove himself? Most definitely he does.
Absolutely.
And actually, I think he's in a good organization for him to step up early.
Yeah. I think he's going to have this is probably the best chance he's going to have to play, especially once you get out of the first round. No one's expecting a 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th round quarterback to come and step in and play, but situation he's in where the top money guy is not going to play at all this year, and then you've got an older Joe Flacco, you got a Dylan Gabriel who they drafted ahead of you, but most people that watch college football would have Shedeur Sanders being better than Dylan Gabriel, and then a Kenny Pickett who's already kind of been a journeyman. So I think he's in a great situation, honestly, as far as
for his judge talent. He's better than all of them.
Yeah, exactly.
But he just comes with some unnecessary baggage. They want to make sure he hold that clipboard for a while.
Yeah.
And to humble him a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then once he gets his opportunity to get out there, he got to make it to a point where it be gracefully well to a point where it's accepted from the Cleveland organization to get out there to play. And I know how he's going to play, period.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's got to go out there, like you said, earn it a little bit. They're going to make you hold the clipboard for a little bit, but mainly they just want to see where your mental is.
Right.
Do you still feel like, oh, I'm better than everybody and I should be here, or are you going out here to want to earn an opportunity like everybody else is doing? I think they definitely want to see that. I think he fits into their scheme perfect. Kevin Stefanski is not going to run a bunch of crazy stuff. It's West Coast offense. He wants to run the football and he wants to work out the play action. I think those are things that Shedeur can excel in going forward with that organization. So we'll be keeping an eye on him as we've been doing throughout this time period, moving forward with them. Last year's Super Bowl with the Chiefs and the Eagles, obviously Jalen Hurts and those guys being able to pull it off for Philly, like you said. Looking at the Chiefs side of it, the success that they've had over this amount of years has been unprecedented. I think every year Patrick Mahomes has been a starter. He's been in the AFC Championship at least. Do you see this as another year the Chiefs can go out there and make their mark and get right back to that Super Bowl?
I do.
Yeah,
I do. I look at it as that group has been assembled to a point to where they trust their system. Besides Mahomes and Kelsey, they don't have a known superstar.
Yeah.
They have a bunch of role players that understand and respect their role. So with that being said, with a team like that, it's very, very easy for them to win games because everybody's going to do their job according to their role. There is no jealousy amongst those guys. They know who the star is.
Yeah.
The quarterback, they know the tight end is getting some pub. Okay, so be it. But everybody else understand their role. There is no jealousy amongst them. So, yeah, that's a very dangerous team when you have a nucleus like that. So you don't hear that somebody is missing a mini count because they have a dispute on their contract. So things like that is possibly very, very good to the morale of the group. And yeah, I think they're not a sleeper.
Yeah.
They can kill you because of just the morale of what's going on that staff.
Yeah, and they built those pillars in their organization that just going to produce and breed winning. If you talk about having possibly the best coach in the league with Andy Reid, talking about having the best quarterback in the league with Mahomes, and all of these different guys that fall in line right after that. Like you said, it's almost just plug and play. Yeah. They lose to Tyreek Hill, who was close to 2,000 yards a season. Okay, they just go out and win the Super Bowl the next year.
Absolutely.
With guys that they got just from different teams, guys that they drafted here. They draft well. Just an all-around top-notch organization with Kansas City. I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah, besides Mahomes and Kelsey, name another player.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So, but that's the whole thing that I'm talking about. But with that nucleus and that structure of them believing in each other with a bunch of role players, most definitely they can be dangerous.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Chiefs are going to be right back in contention for being right back in the Super Bowl next year. I mean, with the guys that they have around them and with the organization, you talked about it earlier, when the owner to the GM and everybody is bought into the same message all the way down to your star player. It's hard to even go out there and lose games with the way that they built that team, man. So
You're absolutely right.
The Chiefs are going to be right there at the top of at the top of it. Like I said, the Eagles are going to kick off the season playing against the Dallas Cowboys, the first game of the year. I think that's on the 4th of September as well. Folks, getting ready to wrap up the show here today. Keith, man, I want to appreciate you jumping on here with us. Definitely want to be able to do this more often. Anything you're working on right now or that you want to shout out or are going to be participating in and being part of coming up soon that you want to talk about?
I would. I have a K2 officiating LLC that I'm creating. And what's that's going to be focusing on is getting more generated toward the youth. Just pretty much the whole morale of that is just to let them know that they can do some things outside of what they're probably used to seeing around the neighborhood. So I just want to give them to a point to where they can see certain things that they can come outside them. They put the mind to it and give them a positive read on how to do whatever their dreams may be. But this foundation that I am creating is going to be something to a point where I want to give back to the community, help especially the youths around where I grew up at. And get them just to see a whole different perspective of life outside of what it is they might be growing up to. I'm a prime example of that.
Yeah.
I love Waco. Waco is my home. I just moved back. Been back now for 4 years, but I have saw things outside of Waco, and and it has changed my mindset for as whatever type of success it is I try to strive for.
Yeah.
So I just want, especially around the area that I grew up in with my K2 officiating companies, just to grasp that mindset and get them to a point to where they can see something different.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a lot of different things that I'm going to be doing with that. I got a couple of guys that's helping me out within the Waco community that has great names of respect that's helping me. But if it's financially or whatever the project that I'm working on, we're going to go from there. But it's going to be a success because I see it. I already can see the ending. I can see it. And once I believe it, all is well with it. Once I see it, the Lord is going to project it for me. So
Absolutely. I think that's amazing because, like you said, just especially in this community, man, a lot of the things that the kids go through or have to deal with or the decisions they make, it's just off of seeing different things. Like you said, being able to see other things of different ways I can do this, different ways I can make money, different ways I can find a career path, even outside of sports. I think that's amazing, man. So definitely we'll be tapped in with you with that. Anything that we can help with,
I appreciate it.
With doing that, we'll definitely help out with that.
Appreciate it.
Folks, want to thank everybody for tuning in with us here today on Centex Primetime. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. We'll discuss more of the NBA Finals. We'll talk some more about what's going on here locally in the Waco area as well, and we'll jump into some more of the hot topics in sports as we always do here. Want to thank everybody. Make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube Centex Sports Network / Centex Sports TV. Hit the subscribe button. You can also click the bell so you can get notified every time that we go live here weekly, 5 to 7 p.m. Also, make sure you guys subscribe to the website, free subscription on CentexSportsNetwork.com to be able to catch all of the content that we put out. Different high schools here locally, working with colleges here locally as well. You'll be able to catch all of that on CentexSportsNetwork.com. So I want to thank Keith once again for jumping on here with us, guys. We'll be back tomorrow. We will see you guys then. Everybody have a great evening.
Good night. Have a good one, buddy.